I got candy.
I can serve you on the block. Cocaine, cream, or rock. It takes over fiends.
I got candy.
Why do I do this? Bad Candy is brought to us by directors Scott B. Hansen and Desiree Connell, and stars Zach Gallagher, Corey Taylor, Derek Russo, and Kevin Wayne. So Bad Candy is essentially an anthology film based around these radio personalities at a radio station on Halloween night telling stories in New Salem. They're all obviously horror themed and loosely connected by this radio station and also this like clown demon looking character that shows up in most of them at some point in time. There are also some other connective tissues between some of the stories, but those two things are the ones that run through pretty much all of them. And I really enjoy anthology films, especially horror anthology films, so when I heard about this one, I was kind of pumped for it. However, after seeing it, I gotta say that Bad Candy, while it does have its good parts, overall it is kind of wildly inconsistent. Some of the stories here are actually pretty entertaining, such as the one about a group of friends who gather up a group of ne'er-do-wells so that they can deliver them to something. One concerning some kids and a house fire, and also the first story about some kids going trick-or-treating, and one of them has the ability to draw things and those things can come to life. But then there's the other stories. Now the other stories aren't all necessarily bad, but some of them are kind of unremarkable. This is when things start to get inconsistent, and unfortunately a lot of these inconsistencies, or the bad parts of the inconsistencies, are the middle portion of the film, so it kind of drags in the middle parts. Some of them are interesting ideas and ironic situations, but it's almost kind of like, why did this need a whole story unto itself? They seem more like footnotes or part of another story that would be more interesting overall, which I guess in a way they kind of are because they're smaller portions of a larger story, but you know what I mean. They just kind of drag the whole thing down a bit. And while the pure nature of an anthology series is that you are going to have some that are better and more entertaining than the others, the quality in these is so great that there are portions of the film where you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs looking at your watch, wondering when the next interesting part is actually going to start. And honestly, even the good, or the more interesting, if you will, stories aren't that great. I mean, they're fine, they're entertaining for what they are, but really what makes them stand out even more is that everything around them is just so much lower quality. And really, it's not so much the quality, it's just that some of these, the story, we've heard a whole bunch of times before. Such as the first story. While yeah, it is one of the better stories in the series, that might be because it's tried and true. We've seen this whole story about a person who can draw something and it comes to life to like enact revenge for them. How many times now? This is nothing new and there's no real surprise in the story, and that's the problem with a lot of the stories. That's what makes anthologies work. You don't see the end coming, and when it does, it's kind of like, oh wow, that was pretty neat. Here, you don't really get that. Even with the best one of all, the one about the guys who get the bad guys together and like are like presenting them to something, that one, you kind of see that one coming as well. Maybe not in the very beginning of the story because it is kind of interwoven with some of the others at one point, but once the story really kicks off, you know what's happening. You get what's about to go down, and that's exactly what happens. The one ironic twist of fate that we do get here is in the last story in the entire movie, and that one, well, okay, I didn't see it coming, I guess. It really wasn't that big of a deal. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, that happened, I guess. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't particularly good either. And that applies to pretty much the entire narrative of this film. It's not bad. It's just kind of okay. The performances as a whole are what we've come to expect from this type of low-budget independent flick. None of them are great, and some of them are on the lower end of okay. But as a whole, they're fine. If you go into this knowing what to expect, knowing that you are watching a low-budget horror flick, then you know what to expect, and that's what you're gonna get. Production-wise, it doesn't really look that bad. I'll say it's probably a step above the movies like this that you would find that are this low-budget horror type, but overall, it's nothing nothing that's gonna blow your mind. Nor is any of it just something you're gonna like laugh at. I mean, none of it's terrible. There's a couple of CGI shots here or there that are a little suspect, but none of it's like god awful. For a movie within this type of wheelhouse, it's fine. Now this is a horror movie, so you expect it to at least be scary or like super over the top violent and gory or kind of ironic. We get a handful of shots of gore and they do what they can. I mean, it's okay, it's entertaining to watch, I guess. It's nothing like mind-blowing, but yeah, it's fine. But as I said a moment ago, as far as ironic twists of fate go, they're not really here, nor are the scares. There's nothing here that's going to scare you or keep you up at night, which is a bit unfortunate when it comes to a horror movie. Guys, overall, Bad Candy was aight. Considering its ilk, the type of movie that it is and what you expect, it's just really middle of the road. There are some entertaining parts to it, but at least half of the movie is also just as blah as it is entertaining in the other half. There's nothing that really stands out here. It's just overall for this type of genre, just okay. And while I guess it's not like a total waste of time, I suppose, if you're a big horror anthology fan, it might be worth checking out on streaming.
Across the street.
Admittedly, I was a bit disappointed in this one because I am a big horror anthology fan, and this one just, I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't love it either. It's real middle of the road, so one night if you're looking for a horror anthology to watch and you just can't find any others and this one's available on streaming, then check it out and you'll have an okay time with it, I guess. So there it is, guys, my review of Bad Candy. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits to go along with that, like these guys. And possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, New Salem.
Happy Halloween! You gon' die, bitch. Bye!
So there's a kid in this movie who has like an evil stepfather, and like the mother apparently is dead, and she lives with this really mean asshole of a stepdad. And the whole time, all I could think is, I don't think this is how it works. Why is she with the step-parent? I mean, the mother is dead, so why would the child stay with the step-parent? Where's the other parent? Where's her actual father? Why isn't she with him? I mean, I get it if it was like a loving relationship, like this stepfather really cared for this kid, but clearly this guy gives no fucks about this girl. He doesn't want her there. He doesn't like her. So why is she with him? This is like some Cinderella shit. That may be how it went down back then, but that's just not how things work nowadays. What step-parent who hates the step-kid is gonna keep the kid after the other parent dies? What the fuck?